Good morning, live weather blog meteorologist Bob here for you with today's tropical update for Wednesday, August 3rd, 2010. We are now tracking Tropical Storm Colin. Tropical Storm Colin was upgraded this morning by the National Hurricane Center. Here's the official forecast track by the National Hurricane Center. You see here's it located at 5 a.m. this morning. Then it's going to take a west-northwest, and then it'll start hooking off to a little more due north of west here as it moves north of the islands by Thursday morning. Pretty quick pace here the next couple days. Then we're going to kind of have it slow down a little bit as it encounters that weakness in the subtropical ridge, and then the official track takes it well east of the east coast of United States here, possibly threatening Bermuda by the weekend here, probably by Sunday. That's a possibility. But here's the official forecast track. I'm going to come back to this track in the end, and I'm going to show you my thoughts on where I think Colin's going to be going. So let's look at the satellite loop here of Colin. And here we go. And this is the latest visible satellite this morning. You can see structurally a little better than last night. It's actually grown a slight bit in size. Still a very small system here. But you can see banding has become a little better. So now we could say, hey, we have a tropical storm. I'm still not that impressed by this system at all, by no means, and I don't expect this thing to become a huge system. So, but here's the official forecast track here. The next next 12 to 24 hours, you can see off to the west-northwest here. See banding getting a little better this morning. Here's the 55 west line. So once we get west of here, we could get some recon in here, and as long as it keeps moving at this pace, we could see some flights going into this probably by tomorrow afternoon. So we'll get a better idea of strength of this system. Here's the AVN loop, and you can see thunderstorms trying to get going here, right around the center. Looking a little more impressive than last night. So slow strengthening probably the next 24 to 36 hours. Okay, water vapor loop. This will show us the big picture here of what's going on. So you see here's Colin, still a very small storm. Outflow, not all that impressive, but it did grow a little bit in size here since last night. Still some dry air out ahead of it. Here's the shearing upper tut low here that's going to really shear this system once it gets just northeast of the islands here. And shear on the about 20 to 30 knots right in here, and this should really halt development of the system and could even destroy this system. My thinking is that it may not survive this right in here. I'm not that impressed. The National Hurricane Center thinks it's going to survive. I'm not too sure about that, but we'll have to see. So here's where that weakness is in the subtropical ridge, and this is where this is going to just take it just like this. Another feature right here in the Central Caribbean. I'm going to have to watch this carefully as this moves into the Western Caribbean. We could see develop out of this, and this could be our next invest the next day or two. So let's keep an eye on this one. If it does develop, as a little trough of East Coast trough develops here a little bit, it could induce this a little farther to the north. So I'll have to watch this carefully over here. Okay, let's look at some of our model runs here for Colin. We have, these are the early run models as of 6Z. This is by Clark Evans, FSU, and you can see everybody going well wet east of the east coast of the United States. See, it gets a pretty big, pretty tight here, and then the pretty big spread here as we go farther out in the period, which is to be expected. So that's why, you know, East Coast, North Carolina, still have to watch this system. You never know, and I'll show you some of the differences on the global models in a minute. But that's where we have the spread now. Intensity models, everybody in the tropical storm, pretty much everybody centered here. I don't see this thing becoming a hurricane. There'd be no way. With that shear out ahead of it, it's impossible. So here we go. National Hurricane Center says peaking at 55 to 60. I think that's still a little generous. I think this could peak before the shear, maybe 50, 55 maybe. And we'll have to see, more like in this range where everybody's clustered. Okay, the bigger models here. GFDL has been on the east side of the cone here, and as you can see, it's bringing it pretty close to Bermuda. And you can see the hook right there. Here's Bermuda right in here. So pretty close to Bermuda. Keeps it generally weak throughout the tropical storm. HWRF, same thing. Takes it pretty close to Bermuda here. Starts to strengthen it once it passes Bermuda, but that's pretty much HWRF, and GFDL has been on the east side of the cone. Now on the west side of the cone here, we have the GFS model, and here it is. I'm tracking it here. See, it keeps the system still fairly weak as well, but takes it pretty close to the east coast here. And this is pretty far west. This is one of the westernmost solutions as it gets it close to North Carolina. So that's on the west side of the cone. And then we have here, this is the Euro model. And you see the Euro model again, once this gets into motion here, I'll kind of show you in a second here. Here we go. Tracking it here with my pointer, and you can see it. And it's pretty far west too. Almost close to the GFS model, taking it pretty close to the east coast. So we have the GFS and the Euro model on the west side, GFDL, HWRF on the east side. Everybody else is kind of in the middle. So take your pick, who do you want to believe? I'm tending towards the west side there. I still think this is going to go a little farther west than a lot of those models indicate. So we'll have to see about that. But that's my thinking right now. And here we go. So now why are the models doing what they're doing? I just want to show you this layer wind mean analysis here. Here's the subtropical high. You remember I was showing you this all last week, how this high pressure, the AB high, was really going to build strong. And that's what's really pushed this thing along, and also has introduced a lot of that drier, stable air, and why Colin really hasn't really erupted quickly the last couple days. Even though the shear's been pretty decent, that fast pace, little bit of easterly speed shear, coupled with that strong high, just wasn't really conducive for real strengthening with this system right now. But here's the weakness in the subtropical ridge. As we get into an NAO negative pattern this weekend, this AB high is going to shift off to the northeast. So this is going to open up the gates for a little weakness here, and this is going to follow this weakness right like this. Now some of the models have this weakness not as strong. So you see the GFS and the Euro model kind of want to close this up a little bit, and that's why it swings it closer to the coast. Meanwhile, the GFDL, HWRF want to take it more towards the east like this. So that's what's going to happen. So it's going to move fast, and once it encounters this weakness northeast of the islands, it's going to kind of slow down a little bit and then kind of get sucked up to the north. So that's what's happening out here. So let's get back to the official forecast track here. I'll show you some of my thoughts again. I'm more on the west side of this cone. I think we're going to see something more in line like this. So that's why, if anybody's going to be threatened by this system right now, I'd say 3 places you want to look at. Still the Bahamas. You still want to take a look at this system. You never know. Again, we got to see if this system even survives. Right now, I'm still worried about if it's going to survive all that wind shear and everything. That's still debatable right now. But say it survives, probably west side of this cone. So Bahamas, keep an eye on it. Still don't think it's really going to threaten you. North Carolina, though, that's where probably the biggest threat could be if this does move farther west. So North Carolina and obviously Bermuda. So these are going to be our 2 areas to watch for if it does threaten anybody right now. So west side of the cone, that's where I'm looking at right now, where this will go. So that's about it for today. I will have another update possibly later tonight if something big develops with Colin. If not, I will see you all back here tomorrow morning. Have a great day and take care. And any questions, any comments could be always posted in the blogs, and I'll try to get back to them as quickly as I can. And as always, follow liveweatherblogs.com for all your latest weather information. Have a good day.